Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt, and we are still continuing our playthrough of King's Quest VI. Where we left off last time, well, we solved the Beauty and the Beast puzzle, if I recall correctly. So we found Beast a maiden that willingly married him, and he then had his enchantment broken, so he's back to being a prince. We scored a magic book from the bookstore after doing a bit of an exchange of a dangling passport for a rare book. And then we also gathered some ingredients for some spells here on the Isle of Wonder. So we got some swamp ooze, and we also got some tears, which are basically salty water, but not from the sea. The last ingredient in our little spell that we need to cast, I believe, is falling water. Now, falling water is not like, oh, it's falling from a wave in the ocean or something. It has to be fresh water. And there has been one place on this map where we've seen falling water. And believe it or not, it's on the Isle of the Beast. And this one had me going years ago for quite some time. Because I kept thinking, oh, it's going to be like that boiling water or something on the Isle of the Beast. Or maybe specific seawater where it was falling a bit more than others. Or maybe there's a waterfall I haven't discovered. Or maybe even something on the Isle of the Mist. But I never could find it, and then eventually you have to think very abstractly here. The water has to be falling, but no one said naturally. So on the Isle of the Beast, we can still actually make our way up towards his castle. So we can go in here into the garden. And then, if I recall correctly, there is a waterfall here. So now what we need to do is we need to get some falling water from our little water fountain, waterfall. Get this little guy. The lamp is not ready for the fountain water. Oh, we've got to add the enchanted water first. That's easy enough. Oops. So we add the enchanted water. Alexander pours the contents of the oracle's vial into the hunter's lamp with the baby's tears. The vial, now empty of its sacred fluid, disintegrates. Now we can put falling water in it. Alexander fills the hunter's lamp to the brim with the fountain water. Now, I can't remember in the spellbook whether we've got to cast part of it before we actually get to the point we want to use it, because I know it needs to be heated. So we don't want the magic paint. Make it rain, that's what we're up to. So first mix the salt and sacred waters in the teapot, then add the falling water. Speak incarnation over teapot to enchant. Heat to boiling to activate. So we now need to do the incantation. Alexander prepares to enchant the hunter's lamp with the make it rain spell. Clouds of thunder, shafts of light, come and sup with me tonight. Water 3, I have thee for tea. Brew a tempest there for me, or something like that. The lamp in Alexander's hand gives a little perk. He hopes the spell works despite his makeshift teapot. I am sure it'll be just fine. Okay, so now we're pretty much good on that front. Now the next thing here is we need to have all of our little ducks in a row if we were to make the next part work successfully. The trick to the teapot is this is going to save our life on the Isle of the Mist. Because remember earlier in one of the parts I mentioned that if you go and you sort of walk into their little gathering, basically you end up being cooked at the stake. They basically try and like bake you up. So you can use the teapot to make it rain. The trick then is, after that happens, it saves your life, but it then sets you on a course of events of which there is a very limited time frame. And if you haven't got all the items you need, basically, to make it through the next sequence, you'll run out of time, and then you can't go back. And the only solution to the game is the suboptimal one. So we also need to have a look, at one of the other spells. So make it rain, I've sort of explained what we're going to do there. The paint spell, that comes a lot later. And we need the river Styx water. But we also need to charm a creature of the night spell. Okay. So we need a skull full of hot oak embers. Now remember, if you've got hot embers, they're going to cool down. And that's the problem with the next bit. As soon as we get these embers, we have to be ready to go and cast this spell. A bit of sulfur, brackets brimstone. I mentioned this in the last part. We actually have that. And 1 strand of pure-hearted maiden's hair. We have that as well. So we add the hair and the brimstone to the skull of embers. In the presence of the creature, speak incantation over the skull. Now, I know where the creature turns out to be, but I thought there was someone that tells us, or maybe it's one of the druids tells us where to find the creature. Because I'm worried that even though I know where it's going to be, I haven't set off some trigger that's going to make sure it's there. So it looks like I do have everything we need here. We've got the hot oak embers, we've got the sulfur and brimstone, got the maiden hair's heart. Now, what that'll do, that'll get us the creature of the night. And the creature of the night basically takes us to the underworld. Now I need to make sure in here I've got everything we need for the underworld. We have some coins, which is, I do know what they're for now, that reminds me. They're for paying a fare. We've got the cup with swamp ooze in it, ready for the river Styx water. And what was the other thing we needed besides river Styx water? There was 3 things. It was swamp ooze, it's in there. River Styx water, it's in there. And the black horse feather, we've already got that. That was on the beach on the Isle of the Great Mountain. That gives you a clue of where the black horse is going to be as well. So we're good to go there. We just need the Styx water. Now when we go to the afterlife, there is a side quest that we do. And that requires, I believe, this ribbon. Now we've also got this potion. We've got Casimir's letter. I think we're good to go. Yeah, I'm going to call this good to go. All right. Without any further stuffing around, what we need to do now is we need to go to the Isle of the Mists. I always thought it was kind of cool to have this little fawn there just eating the grass. The graphics in this game are second to none, really. Oh, here we go. Great gods, did you see that? That man just appeared from nowhere. Perhaps he was sent by the spirits. I see no boat. He's an intruder, no matter how he got here. Grab him. So yeah, this is a dangerous isle. Not again. Look, I'll leave. It's no problem. I think not. Let's go. So yeah, if you don't have your little teapot ready to go at this point, you are in trouble. Oh, they've got a cage. Forgot about this. Alexander is frozen at the spectacle before him. Robed figures are gathered around a bonfire. Some mystical ceremony is taking place, but as to its purpose, Alexander has no clue. We found a trespasser on the beach, Archdruid. Uh-oh, Archdruid? Now what has Alexander wandered into? This must be the foreigner we were warned about. How appropriate that he should come during our rain festival. Place him in the sacrificial cage. Wait, I must rescue the princess. There's an ancient druid saying, a man who would save others must first save himself. Alexander is pushed into the confining wicker cage. So we don't even have a chance to sort of cast the spell for the Make It Rain if you've missed that. So it's lucky we've cast that already. And now we just need to heat up the pot to boiling, which is no problem over the top of the fire. And the cage is swung out over the bonfire. Alexander starts to feel a little warm. bottom of the cage is getting uncomfortably hot. This cage is really hot. Fire in the cage! Alexander pulls out Beauty's old slave clothes, desperate to beat out the flames. The flame is extinguished, but the clothes themselves burn to cinders. Ah, interesting. So that takes away our opportunity to do the suboptimal solution. Alexander won't be able to keep the cage from igniting for long. The heat and movement must have jarred something. Something that Alexander's carrying around is starting to jiggle around. Egads! Something is really percolating. The water in Alexander's lamp is hot. It's just about boiling. Alexander feels a drop. It starts to rain. That man is a powerful nature wizard. By the sacred oak, let him down. Later, after a short but furious thunderstorm, also note he said the sacred oak. That's a little bit of a clue too. I must apologise for our rude welcoming committee. We've been feeling inhospitable ever since the winged ones stole our sacred miniature oak tree. Besides, Vizier Alzar had sent a message that we were to watch out for a highly dangerous foreign assassin. I assume you are the one he meant. I'm sure I'm precisely who he meant. I assure you I mean no harm to no one, unless that person threatens the princess. I'm sorry to have disrupted your ceremony, but I'm running out of time. What is it that you seek? The oracle on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain told me that I should speak to you about the realm of the dead. She told me of 2 souls in unrest there that I might be able to free. 3 souls in the realm of the dead? You're mad. The souls might be able to help me on my mission to save the princess. It's imperative that I do everything I can. The risks are not important. No, and yet getting yourself killed will hardly help the princess. But I will tell you what I know. Legend has it that it is the right of any human to challenge the Lord of the Dead in order to save his own life or the life of another already past. But the knowledge of how to do this was lost centuries ago. I have only heard of one who tried it, a young knight who came to the land of the Green Isles from a distant land long ago. According to the story, he was determined to challenge the Lord of the Dead for the soul of his dead lover. It is said that he tamed the Lord of the Dead's horse, a black-winged, demon-hearted beast named Nightmare. Nightmare sometimes flies to the human world to feed on certain noxious plants. Classic. Those unfortunate enough to see her are glad to escape with their very souls intact. Somehow, the knight captured Nightmare and rode off on her back, supposedly to the realm of the dead, but neither the knight nor his lover ever returned. If there was a means for a challenge, it was lost with the knight. I see. Can you tell me anything about the Lord of the Dead? Ah, that is a blacker matter still. To the Druids, he is Salmain, Lord of Coldness and Despair. Salmain was once a man like you or I, but he insulted the gods and was sentenced to rule the underworld. Immortal he is, and mateless, robbed of sleep, robbed of movement, robbed of companionship. It is said that he hates all mortals, even with more for the mortality that he lost. That is all I know. Interesting. I shall remember. Now, look how the oak embers of our bonfire, oak embers, still glow hot despite the rain. If you're bent on your course, you'll need courage that is just as impervious to the chill. May your luck last longer than your storm, brave one. May it indeed. Thank you, Archdruid. Now remember he said that Nightmare feeds on noxious plants. Well, the deadly nightshade was on top of the mountain there on the island of Great Mountain or whatever it was called. where the genie tried to convince us into eating some. So that's where we need to find Nightmare. We also saw the feather from Nightmare basically down at the bottom, so that was a supplementary clue. I'm going to save it here because, as I said, these embers only stay hot for so long. What are we up to? 28. And if they cool, now that Beauty's dress is burned, that's it. Like, this game is bricked. There is no way to get to the underworld. There's no way to do the suboptimal solution because that needs Beauty's clothes, and there's therefore no ending to the game. So let's just have a quick look at the spell before I go any further, because it's important to get the order right. So we don't want the paint yet. Don't want the rain. We've done that. Okay, so we're going to add the sulfur and then the strand of the maiden's hair. In the presence of the creature, then you speak the incantation over the skull. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to get the embers. Put them into the skull. Excellent. Now the sulfur. We've got a rotten egg. As eggs decompose, they form hydrogen sulfide gas as a part of the bacterial breakdown. Hydrogen sulfide gas is not exactly sulfur material in terms of sulfur elemental, but in this game it's sulfur enough. Alexander cracks the spoiled egg and dumps it into the skull containing the embers. The spoiled egg hisses and makes contact with the hot embers. Zounds, the steam. Pew, the smell of sulfur. Alright, so we're 3/4 of the way there, and then we just need the maiden hair. Alexander puts the strand of hair in the skull containing the embers and the spoiled egg. Alright, so that's ready to rock and roll. So now we need to get as quickly as possible over to the Isle of the Great Mountain, or whatever it was called. Okay, get our map going. Now we still have the tinderbox, which is good. Sacred Mountain, there we go. Because we need to explore that tiny little cave thing. Because in there's a mint plant that I was talking about in the last part. And I'm hoping after we've come back from the land of the dead, I can just sneak in there and grab some mint. Because we're going to need it. Because remember early in the game, the genie ate the mints from the store and he got drunk. We need the mints to do that again. Now this should take us right to the top. Yeah, it does. Okay, there's Nightmare. Now at this point in time, we can't just walk up and grab Nightmare. It doesn't work. Alexander arrives at the top of the cliffs, somewhat winded after his long but uneventful climb. Alright, so now, in theory, I think all we have to do is, let's just save it. And it's 29. And then I'm going to cast the spell. And after that, I might see if I can just sneak in here and actually get the mints. Because I don't want to miss out on that, if possible. That's going to be a bad day. So we get right near the end of the game and then it's just like, can't win it. Alright, so now let's go. Man, the icon in this is brutal. There it is. And charming the creature of the night. Alexander solemnly speaks the incantation over the skull. Creature of the night, to me succumb, fire and brimstone leave thee numb. Purity bind thee like a chain, to do whate'er I now ordain. Nightmare flares her nostrils at the scent of the fire and brimstone. That's it, come on. I need passage to your homeland, fiery one. Unable to resist the power of the enchanted spell, Nightmare approaches Alexander. Her eyes appear glassy and sightless. In her hypnotized state, she is unaware of the human so close to her flank, or anything else except that marvelous spell. Alright, looks like we're going to ride her anyway. Now ride. And this is one part where the riders really excelled in King's Quest 6, in the fact that if you die in the game, you go to the land of the dead, you get your ticket, and you basically, that's it. But you actually get to travel there alive and actually escape it alive if we play our cards right. Okay. Nightmare deposits Alexander on a strange, cold world. Now you can see here there's some inhabitants, and it even says here some of them don't look too friendly. See these couple walking around. Now we just got to get away. Any of these that are solid are bad news. Hopefully that dude's going to walk away. If you touch the solid zombie, that's it, you're dead. So we've got to be a bit careful there. So let's save it. It's funny, you're dead and you're in the land of the dead. You're like double dead or something, I guess. Anyway, not going too philosophically into that. We don't want to touch the solid zombies. These kind of transparent ones, though, you can interact with. So if we get our little speech bubble here, let's have a chat to these two. Maybe we already know who they are. Who are you, grieving spirits? I am Queen Ilaria of the land of the Green Isles, and this beloved spirit is my husband, King Caliphin. We were murdered in our beds by our trusted vizier. Like a viper, he snuck in during the night and stabbed us in our sleep. Now my husband's soul is broken, and he will not speak. Then you are the ones I seek. Are you not the parents of Princess Casimir? Our daughter, have you news of the princess? I know that she is alive and safely back in her kingdom after being rescued from Mordak, but I'm afraid I have not personally seen her. Alzarad is keeping her in her room in mourning for you. Kind of ironic. Oh, dreaded news. I'm glad to hear of her return, but she will not be safe alone with that devil. Oh, that we could be there to protect her. Casimir, how I've failed thee. My poor husband will never rest while our murder goes unavenged, and our daughter is in danger. I came to take you back with me. Your people are still loyal to you. They need to know about the vizier. Casimir needs you too. But this is the realm of the dead. We cannot leave it. Nor, for that matter, can you. The only one who might be able to return us all to the land of the living is the Lord of the Dead. But he would never help us. He has no mercy. I might be able to convince him. I must try. Then take this. It is my ticket to the underworld. There you will find the Lord of the Dead. I cannot use the ticket as long as I'm chained here. And if we cannot be avenged, I will never be unchained. Thank you. Perhaps it will save us all. Be careful, young man. If you can ease my husband's torment and help our daughter, we will be most grateful. I will do my best. Goodbye, Queen Ilaria. For some reason I thought you had to give them the little ribbon. Okay, maybe you don't. Alright. Now we must head up this way, I think. No, this way. Uh-oh. We're going to head one way or the other. Preferably not touching a zombie. Maybe it's this way. Ah, there we go. I thought we had to go up and around, but I must misremembered. Alright, so now for a bit of bonus. Notice there's another spirit just sort of here, saying, Ali, where's my boy Ali? Let's have a chat to her. Why do you not rest, sad spirit? Rest? I cannot rest. My son is lost. Lost? You mean in this realm? No, his spirit is stuck in the land of the living, probably looking for me, but I cannot leave to show him the way. My poor Ali. Is there anything I can do? Take this handkerchief. If you get back to the land of the living and find him, tell him that his mother is here waiting for him. By this kiss, he'll be able to find his way to the realm of the dead. I'll do my best to find him. Thank you, oh my Ali. So I don't know how she's got any solid possessions on her after the last thing said the realm of the dead people don't have possessions, but that's cool. I guess it said they have no need for possessions, so slightly different. Alright, let's get out of here before this zombie gets us. So that little conversation there is just a side note. If you don't do it, you just lose a bit of score. It doesn't actually change the outcome of the game though, per se. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Now here's where we've got to be a bit careful. Now this guy here is asking for tickets, and we have one. The skeleton to the left of the path hands something to the spirits that approach the underworld entrance. Ticket, please. Next. Alright. Little trick here. This one took me a long time back in the day because I got stuck and I didn't know what to do. But the solution was staring me right in the face. See these bones here? You sort of think, why are they lined up like that? Well, ironically enough, if you just interact with them, something funny happens. Alexander picks up the two bones on the ground. Now what do these bones remind him of? Ah yes, now I remember. The skeletons are overcome with the musical call of the bones. They begin to jiggle, then to dance. Now this is important not to get into the realm of the dead, from what I remember, but it is important for finishing the game. I kind of thought that you had to do this to then allow them not to kill you going in here, but it's not that. I just remembered now that he's shaking. This key's going to fly off in a minute. And it's a skeleton key. And for those of you that are aware of the old sort of, you know, old keys and old timey stuff, the skeleton key can be used to kind of break into a room, so to speak. Especially with the old skeleton key type locks, so they're not very secure. Alexander finishes his tune and the skeletons resume their post. Despite their frolic, they don't seem any friendlier. Alright, we'll just wait for these like dancing skeletons just to kind of progress off to the left. And now we can grab that key. Alexander picks up the skeleton key. Excellent. Now, we have our ticket. Show this to the ticket guy. I have a ticket. So because we've got that, they assume we're already dead. Without the ticket, I think the guy at the front here, if you ask him for one, you end up getting killed. Alright, this is definitely warrants another save because you can fall off into the river Styx pretty easily. Alright, so we're up to number 32. Man, this is a long game. Now over here, we can see there's kind of a body just lying there. Now, remember the druid spoke of a knight that came through and tried to basically barter with the King of the Dead to actually have his fiancée or his girlfriend basically released. So we have to have a look at his body, and there's a few things on here that we can take, I think. Oop, bit of a ghoul. Alright, so he's got this little hand thing here, this glove. He's also got this kind of blue thing. The ribbon is so old it will crumble at Alexander's touch. Well, maybe we don't need that. So we're going to take that basic glove. And when we take the glove, notice what it calls it. Alexander takes the knight's black gauntlet and examines the writing on it. Flesh may cross the portal and seek its master's death. Flesh may go where death is trod and challenge like something. He who reigns beneath the sod to spare a mortal's breath. Zounds! That sounds serious. I thought we could take the blue bit of cloth. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. So, what we now need to do is very carefully not fall into the river Styx, because that would be bad. And we should arrive at a little ferry station, which we do. Alright, so now I'm just going to give it another save. So unfortunately, in the realm of the dead, there are a couple of things that you can do which will stuff you up. Now, the first thing you need to do is we need to get the river Styx water. So you can see here, this is the river Styx. Here's a boat. That's going to sail us off to the other side. Or a ferry, I should say. So before we forget, let's just get the teacup. We'll put some Styx water in it. How do we do it? There we go. Alexander scoops a little of the river Styx into the teacup with the swamp ooze, being careful not to get any of the black water on his skin. Now that we've done it, I probably should have saved it at this point, but that's fine. I think something funny happens if you try and drink it. It's been a while. The funny part about this here is, well, you've sort of been thinking, or you may have been thinking, I should say, up to this point, this game's pretty linear in the fact that if you don't have a possession or you don't have something, it doesn't really brick the game, you just go back and you get it. But in this part, you cannot do that. Okay, so we can't put a hand in the river. Can we just walk into it? Oops. Alexander slips off the banks and plunges into the river Styx. As the black water comes in contact with his skin, Alexander feels himself going numb from the legs up. He sinks like a stone. I think this circles back to, yep, getting another admission. Alright. Not as funny as I remember, but that's okay. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, you might be thinking this is pretty linear and you can go backwards and you can, get bits and pieces and you can't really brick the game too easily. Oh yes, you can. If you get to this point and you didn't get the coins off of that skeleton in the labyrinths, you can't pay your fare across the river Styx and you are stuck. Will these coins do us fare for passage? Chiron accepts the fare and waves Alexander onto the boat. Alright, so I'm going to sail across the river Styx to the other side. Very slowly. Well, sail's probably the wrong term. I guess like you punt it across because he's got like a stick that he kind of pushes the boat along with. I guess that's the technical term. Alright, here we are. Now, this is the culmination of a lot of logical thought. Up until now, the logics for the cliffs and like for the little, floor maze in the catacombs, that sort of stuff. If you read the manual and the accompanying documentation, it walks you through it pretty well. Like, it's not perfect, but it gives you a really big hint. This door here, though, on the other hand, does not. This one requires all of you and what you've picked up in the game. And I've kind of spelled it out a bit, so down there in the comments, if you think, this is going to ask a riddle, and if you think you know what the riddle's going to be, think about what I was saying about the torn page in the book. Let's see if you can figure it out just before I do it. Okay, so this door turns into it's a gate. That's it, human, come close to me. Oops. Okay. Tasty. I guess that was one step too far. So let's try that again. Maybe we've got to talk to the gate. Alright, let's try talking to the gate. Oops, that's not talk. That's talk. Okay, maybe if we just get a little close, but not too close. A little closer? Maybe if you use the hand icon. Alexander reaches out to open the gate. Suddenly the wood trembles beneath his fingertips. There we go. What touch has awakened my sleep? I smell the blood of a mortal. Reach out thine hand again, fleshy human, that I might devour it. It has been centuries since I last ate. Alright. Despite his fear, Alexander summons his bravest voice to command the living gate. I would pass, gate. I have business with your master. My master and thine, human, I would be pleased to introduce thee. Only step forward and thou shalt meet him shortly. No, thank you. I come to meet the Lord of the Dead with my flesh still intact. And why should I let you pass, human, when I would much rather eat you? I've been told that there is a way for humans to enter death's realm. There must be something I can do, some task that will allow me to pass your doors, gate. I seem to recall something. A trick perhaps, a test. Ah yes. Should a human try to pass, a riddle is gates wont to ask. A riddle it is then. And if thou wouldst fail to answer the gate, his thirsty jaws will be thy fate. Agreed. Listen as though it meant thy life then, human, for it surely does. My first is foremost legally, my second circles outwardly, my third leads in all victory, my fourth twice ends in a nominee, my whole is this gate's only key. Now if you look very careful, legally, outwardly, victory, and twice ends in a nominee, so the ending is EE in nominee, E-L-O-V-E, love. Now, you can solve it that way, but you also, from what you saw in the rare book where the page was missing in that riddle, and you saw the answer to that riddle was love from Charlotte's Web, you can also solve it that way too. So, L-O-V-E, love. So 2 ways you can solve it. The answer is love. Ah, thou traitor of the mortal plane, how didst thou guess love? That riddle should never have been solved. Love is unknown in this realm. Love cannot be banished even from this place. There are spirits still pining of it in the surface above. Still less, it can be banished from my heart. Enough, burden me not with thine poetry. Pass through and quickly before I change my mind. Now, here's where it gets a bit serious. Alright, I better save it here because I don't remember the exact sequence. I do remember what I need to do, but I don't remember the sequence. And the sequence is everything, especially in the realm of the dead. I think what I need to do is to speak to these guys here for an audience, because there's the Master of the Dead down there, or the King of the Dead, or whatever you want to call it. Excuse me, I'd like an audience, please. The shrouded guards escort Alexander to the throne of the Lord of the Dead. And this dude means business. Why have you entered my domain still wearing your flesh? If you're so anxious for death, you might find it as easily enough in the land of the living. But since you are here, you are most welcome to stay. Kiss my hand, and you will be at one with the spirits. There will be no pain. We certainly don't want to do that. Now, I think what you've got to do is remember that night we found his gauntlet, and it had some words on it. We have to use the gauntlet, because no matter what we say to him, he will just ignore us. I did not come here to die, but to demand my right of challenge. I respectfully challenge thee, death, by throwing down the gauntlet. A classic. Man may pass the portal and seek its master death. Man may pass where death is trod and challenge like something. He who reigns beneath the sod to spare a mortal's breath. He has the gauntlet. Impossible. He challenges death. Who are you to challenge death? A man of flesh is all that I need to be, my lord. And what is it that you seek with this challenge? The soul of some dead maiden? I seek the souls of King Caliphim and Queen Ilaria of the land of the Green Isles. You would save 2 human souls and emerge alive from this realm yourself? That shall be a difficult challenge indeed. The tomb does not open its doors lightly. Either all 3 of us leave or none go. Very well. Then let me think of an appropriate task. Ah yes, I have it now. Your challenge is this. For thousands of years I have sat upon this throne. I have heard every sad tale that can be told by human lips. I have seen tragedies that ended empires, injustices that defy reason, love that would light the very stars turn cold and hard. I have seen torments that cannot possibly be borne and yet must be for centuries. This thing I have never done. I have never shed a tear. Make me cry, thou man of flesh. That is my challenge. Make death cry? Sooner he could turn sea to stone or fire to ice. Alright, really quick save here. So I do remember there's a kind of a funny thing I discovered by accident years ago. I thought we could use the boring book on him, and like it would either put him to sleep or make him cry of boredom or something weird like that. I can't remember if it was a funny ending, but it definitely had an ending. The actual solution though is quite simple. Pretty sure that's the boring book. Alexander's heard the expression bored to tears, but somehow he doesn't think it will work in Death's case. Oh damn. I thought it did something. Anyway, I'm remembering wrong. Maybe I just remember that funny thing it says. Okay, the way to do this, remember Beauty and the Beast? Beast had a mirror that was given to him by the witch to basically, for him to look into and see how miserable he was and see his true self, to really, really, rub in the enchantment. So the mirror shows you the truth of your existence, basically. And that was that was very much explained by the Beast in the text. And this game, you have to read the text and make real good notes of it. So if we use the mirror against Death, it's going to show him his true nature. If your existence has been all that you say it has, then truth alone shall be my sword. So I guess it's the mirror of truth if that's the case. The mirror's surface swirls with darkness for a moment, then fills with images even blacker. Reflections of despair, of wailing souls, of shackles colder and more immutable than any forged by man, of a world that thirsts that can never be quenched. Alexander feels the mirror tremble in his grasp and is glad that he cannot see its face, but the Lord of the Dead is transfixed to the mirror, to the screening of his life. Things long forgotten are once more uncovered, his enslavement to the throne while still a man, the years of watching misery and horror and growing even more numb to it, the seep of his own humanity, the slow growth of a new thing, altogether which became the which he is now. He is an existence that has no possibility of redemption, no end. The surrounding spirits draw away in pain. The truth is so sharp it stabs, so intense it sears. Hey, take it away. Make it stop. The mirror of truth cracks from the strain, and death sheds a single grey tear. Truth is, indeed, a terrible thing. I have worn this mantle for so long, I had forgotten its dreadful weight. You shall take the souls and leave, as I agreed. You have been granted a stay from this inevitable reality. I almost envy you. Find the souls he has claimed, and bring them to me. King Caliphim and Queen Ilaria, I presume. Your hero has won you a few more years of mortality. May your souls be more prepared for their rest when you return. Thank you, my lord. I hope that they will. And you, man of flesh, my steed shall take the three of you back to the land of the living. Tell her where it is you wish to go. Until we meet again, then, I assure you, we will meet again. No offence, my lord, but I hope that it will be many long years from now. It is never as long as you might wish, mortal. Now be gone. Yes, my lord. Alright. So, this is the optimal ending. We have saved the king and the queen from the land of the dead, and we're bringing them back to the land of the living. In the non-optimal ending, we don't do that. We manage to rescue the princess, but her parents remain in the land of the dead. They're not brought back, and having never actually finished that ending, I don't know how it exactly plays out, but as I said earlier, I might just film that one as a supplementary video. Are you coming, Majesty? Alzarid's treachery must be handled carefully, Alexander. Ilaria and I must gather our allies and form a plan. In the meantime, watch over Casimir. Make sure she comes to no harm. We will return as soon as we can to take back all that has been stolen for us. I will keep her safe until you return. Thank you, son. Your love for our daughter must be deep indeed, for you to have undertaken death itself for our sakes. Indeed, may we succeed in what awaits us and live long together as a family.